Good evening. I know we've started just a little early, so I'm going to put on some music. Give us just a few moments to allow people to come in. Indeed, hope your day was good. We are live. We are live. As you come in, if you'll do me a favor and hit the like button and share around your circle of influence. We'll get started in just a moment. And we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as LinkedIn. So, welcome to all of you, all of my platforms. Well, not all of them, but yeah, most of them. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I am still recuperating from last night. So, uh, the spirit of sleep is on me. I am ready to lay it down, but I've got a call to do this tonight and some programming update for this week that I'll let you know about. Give it another minute. Come on in, like and share, and good. Well, family and sons and daughters of empowerment, welcome tonight to this Cold 10 meeting. Before we dive into a programming note, there will be no word on Wednesday this week. I'm at a conference to be poured into, and we'll post periodically. We'll post some things to our some subscriber only updates as the Lord leads us. But I want to, as before we jump into tonight's agenda, I want to acknowledge the death of Trey Reed, a young African American male who was found hanging from a tree at Delta State University in Cleveland, Ohio. I am waiting for the same energy, the same uh, tenacity that we saw last week with another situation to arise. Now, I know that we're waiting. We're waiting for them to do what they say that they're going to do. But we speak his name tonight, Trey Reed. Um, we were looking to understand what happened there in Ohio. Listen, tonight we are standing at a defining moment. The shift is no longer coming, the shift is here. And God is calling us to move into strategy. So I'm going to ask you again to share this meeting with your circle of influence if you have not already. Let me tell you this plainly. We cannot wait on systems that were never designed to save us. We cannot sit in pews waiting for a miracle while our children drown in illiteracy, while our elders die without care, and our neighborhoods rot. Investment. We must rise as builders, as reformers, as community anointed to heal the breach and set a standard for generations to come. That's why, brothers and sisters, Apostolic World Empowerment, it's not just a name, it's not just a ministry, it's a movement, a mandate, as well as a mantle. And we carry it because heaven entrusted us with it. And tonight, I want to walk you through what I call the six pillars of empowerment. Not just a list, not just a program, but a prophetic blueprint, a kingdom framework, a divine strategy for how we build what the world refuses to give us. Because let's be real, the systems of this world were never designed to affirm us, to equip us, or to see us thrive. They will hand us crumbs. Yeah, they will, and call it bread. They will give us access, but they will never give us ownership. They will invite us into their tables, but never let us determine the menu. But these six pillars, I believe, as God has downloaded them to me, are heaven's answers. They are the sort of the scaffolding, if you will, allow me to paint that picture for a future where our children don't just survive, but they flourish. Where our families don't just exist, they thrive. Where our communities don't just wait for change, they embody it. This is not theory. This is a blueprint. This is a mandate. This is the apostolic instruction manual for building the world God intended for us to have. So, since we're not doing Word on Wednesday on tomorrow, I want to root us in the Word on tonight, Deuteronomy 8 and 18. For it says, "But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is He that giveth thee power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant." Power to get wealth. Not just to shout about blessings, not just to dance over favor, power to build systems that glorify God and secure our future. If you're ready, we're going to jump into the first pillar. And the first pillar, brothers and sisters, is education. I've got to give you some word. I know we're not having word on Wednesday, but I got to anchor this in the word. Hosea 4 and 6 declares that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. I want to say something to you tonight uh, that might end up being a sound bite, but listen to the whole statement. Ignorance is not a demon, it is a decision. And every time, let me make sure I can see my comments. Every time we choose not to educate our children, every time we leave them to stumble through school without support, we are handing them over to a system that was never designed to affirm them, never designed to see them win, never designed to release them into destiny. If they can't read, they'll follow lies without knowing the truth. If they can't write, they'll never have the power to record their own story. Someone else will write it for them. Mm. If they can't count, they'll sign contracts that rob them blind and lock them into generational poverty. Education is not about filling in bubbles on a test. Education is about unlocking destiny. It's about taking the chains off of young minds and saying, you will not be silenced, you will not be invisible, and you will not be bound by statistics. When we teach our children to read, we give them the keys to revelation. When we teach them to write, we give them the authority to leave a record. And when we teach them to count, we give them the tools to build wealth and steward inheritance. Education prepares the next generation to speak with wisdom in places where their voices are needed, to govern with knowledge in spaces where decisions are made, and to stand boldly in arenas where ignorance would have kept them silent. This is why we can't play with it, because every child we fail to educate becomes another soul the system will gladly incarcerate. Hmm. That's why we need Saturday schools in our churches. Not another musical, not another appreciation service. Schools, reading labs, places where the sound of children turning pages is louder than the sound of gossip in the pews. Retired teachers using their wisdom to tutor, elders sitting our children down and teaching them the history that the textbooks have erased and that our government is still trying to erase. And let me say this raw and without apology: take the electronics away, take the lip gloss and the lashes away, take the Jordans and the PlayStations away for a moment. Sit our babies down and teach them how to read, because the one who cannot read will always be enslaved to the one who can. We've got kids that know how to TikTok but don't know how to spell. Young men who can run a ball down the field but can't fill out a job application. Young women who can style hair but have never been shown how to spot red flags on a contract. We are raising a generation that looks sharp but feels small. And it's not their fault. It's ours if we don't correct it. Because when a child learns to read, they learn to dream. When they learn to write, they learn to declare. When they learn to count, they learn to build. And so hear me tonight. The church, the community, the family must rise and say, not on our watch. We don't need more entertainment in the pulpits. We need empowerment in the classrooms. I'm not impressed with how well you can hoop a sermon if your church can't host a reading circle. I don't care how high the choir can sing. If your children can't spell their own names, there's a problem. Because let's be clear, the school to prison pipeline is real. And when we don't fight for it with pencils, books, and tutoring, we end up fighting for it with bail money, funerals, and grief. So, no, we don't need another shout while our children can't spell. We don't need another revival that skips over reading comprehension. We need Saturday schools, after school programs, book clubs, and tutoring centers that turn statistics into success stories. The true revival will not only be seen at the altar, it will be seen in classrooms where a child who has once ignored learns to read. And in that moment, the future opens wide. That's, can we see that as deliverance too? That's breakthrough as well. That's kingdom. And so here's the call to action. There's a call to action every every pillar. If you are a teacher, tutor, or simply someone with a passion for learning, I need you to connect with me. You can go to the website. That information is scrolling at the bottom of your screen, apostolicworldempowerment.org. There's a contact page. Go to that page and connect with me. Together, we can launch reading labs, after school programs, and literacy hubs in every region. Not just, I'm in the greater Chicago area, but not just in greater Chicago, but in all of these United States, and possibly even abroad, depending on the connection. Education is the seed of destiny. And you, my friend, are a planter. I need you to join with me. Let's go to pillar number 2. which is economics and employment. Proverbs 13:22 says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. But let's be honest, too many of us are leaving debt instead of destiny. We're leaving bills instead of blessings. We're leaving funeral costs instead of financial freedom. Oh, we sing, we're blessed. Yeah, we laid in the yeah, we do all of that while we're trapped in payday loans that bleed us dry. We dance about overflow on Sundays while working three jobs during the week with nothing to show for it but exhaustion and empty accounts. And here's the tragedy. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge your hearing. I'm going to challenge your theology. On tonight, I just need you to bear with me. I need you to hear my heart tonight. Many of us are tithing faithfully into churches that preach prosperity but practice poverty management. Take a breath. Take a breath. We sow seed, but we seed no storehouses. We give offerings, but the only thing offered back is another service. No credit unions, no job training, no business incubators, just promises of a harvest that we don't know if it will ever come. This is not kingdom economics, this is financial idolatry. Sowing into systems that consume without creating, into ministries that feed themselves. Oh, I'm talking good. Feed themselves, but never feed the people. Family, it's time to shift. We must build our own banks. And I know that there are a few minority banks, and I need to do some research. But those of you that are watching, if you will help me, if there are minority owned banks in your area, if you'll send us a list of those, because we need to build our own. We need our own cooperatives, our own businesses. We've got to retrain our people, not just to fill positions, but to create positions, to not only apply for jobs, but to become employers. Because when we start to build our own table, we stop begging for a seat at someone else's. And when we own the land, the businesses, the institutions, no system can shut us down. Listen, I want to declare this prophetically. It is time to recover everything that belongs to us, not just wages, but wealth, not just salaries, but strategies, not just jobs, but generational inheritance. We tithe, listen, we tithe faithfully. But what return do we see? We shout about sowing, but where is the harvest? Uh, mm, Too often we are pouring into systems that just consume. They devour our seed and produce no storehouse. It's not stewardship. It's not stewardship. We need to shift from shouting about wealth to structuring wealth, from preaching prosperity to producing prosperity, from testifying about overflow to building overflow. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. I want to declare this tonight. You all just bear with me. Until we move from dependency to dominion, from laborers to landowners, and from consumers to creators, we will never truly walk in the covenant wealth God promised. Here's the call to action tonight. I need my entrepreneurs, my job trainers, my financial coaches, and dreamers. I'm speaking to you directly tonight. The kingdom needs your gift. The community needs your expertise, and the next generation need your courage. This is not the season to sit on your ideas. This is not the season to bury your talents. It's the time to mobilize what's in your hand. I need you to connect with me. So together we can launch economic literacy workshops, cooperative businesses, investment circles, and job readiness programs in your city. Let's raise up employers, not just employees, owners, not just renters, investors, not just consumers. Let's stop waiting for opportunities from systems, again, that was never built with us in mind, and start creating opportunities that leave an inheritance for our children. If you've got the gift for business, finance, or training, this is your clarion call. Step forward because we're building storehouses now. We've got to. We've got to. Pillar number two, pillar number three, and that is health and wellness. Got to give you some scripture. John, 3 John 1 and 2. It says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. But let me ask you a hard question. What good is wealth if we die before we can enjoy it? Take a breath. Take a breath. What good is anointing if our bodies collapse before we complete the assignment? What good is a calling if we don't have the stamina to finish the race? The truth of the matter is, we are dying too young. Our communities are burying fathers at 50, mothers at 45, sons at 30, and daughters before their time. Not because God failed us, but because in most cases we've neglected ourselves. We shout about victory in church, but diabetes stalks our homes. We dance about breakthrough, but bodies down. We run to every revival, but strokes and stress are silencing voices God intended to use for decades more. Food deserts choke our neighborhoods. Liquor stores outnumber grocery stores. Fast food chains hand our kids death on a dollar menu, and we call it convenience. But convenience is killing us, and we've allowed our appetite, help Holy Ghost, to become an assassin. And here's the part we don't want to talk about. The system profits off of our sickness. The pharmaceutical industry grows fat while our people die. Hospital bills, millions, or while we bury loved ones too soon. And this is not just a health crisis, it is an economic and a spiritual warfare tactic because a sick person can never be a strong person. Family, that must change. Healing must be holistic. Deliverance is not just demons coming out, it's disease coming under control. Wholeness is not just shouting in tongues, speaking in tongues. It's walking in health, eating with wisdom, resting with discipline, and saying, My body belongs to God. Because to prosper as your prospers, your body must prosper too. To finish your assignment, you must outlive your adversity and your adversary. And the church stays silent. We'll lay hands on the demon of depression, but never talk about the diet that's destroying us. We'll cast out spirits, but never confront sugar. We'll preach about heaven as if that excuses us from stewarding the years God gave us here on earth. We cast out demons, but we ignore disease. Uh, we anoint with oil, but won't address trauma that is eating our people alive from the inside out. Family, this is not kingdom. Healing has got to be holistic. God is not only concerned with your spirit, he is concerned with your soul and your body. That's why Jesus healed lepers as well as forgive sin. That's why he opened blinded eyes as well as opened blinded hearts. We need wellness centers where people can check their blood pressure as easily as they can check in for prayer. Oh, I'm talking good tonight. We need mental health clinics that break the stigma and declare therapy is not faithlessness, it's wisdom. We need trauma healing circles where our communities can sweep progress and recover, can weep, process and recover. We need fitness programs in our church. I'm talking about consistent programs in our churches. Nutrition education taught in the fellowship hall, not just potlucks filled with, you know, caring for your body is not vanity. It is stewardship of God's temple. So to neglect your health while shouting about destiny is hypocrisy because your body is the vessel that carries the assignment. And so if you abuse the vessel, you shorten the mission. Hear me, longevity is not about genetics. It's not just about genetics, it's about discipline. That's why we are fasting every Wednesday from processed foods and anything that is fast food related or has added sugar in it, because we've got to give these bodies a break. And if you determine that you want to go beyond just doing it on Wednesday, you do that. But from a whole group perspective, the Lord said that we've got to start somewhere, and so Wednesday is where it is. Wholeness is not it's not just about deliverance. It's about our daily choices. And revival will not just be measured in packed sanctuaries, but in people who are alive long enough to fulfill what God has placed on their lives. Here's the call to action to my counselors, healthcare workers, fitness instructors, nutritionalists, therapists, and wellness advocates. This is your call to the front line. The kingdom needs your skill, your wisdom, and your compassion. We cannot heal nations if we ignore the sickness in our own neighborhoods. We cannot claim a revival if our people are still dying prematurely. Healing is not optional, it's a mandate. Connect with me. Go over to apostolicworldempowerment.org. Go to the contact page. Send me an email. I will respond so that together we can organize wellness weekends that restore bodies, trauma healing circles that mend souls, and fitness challenges that teach discipline as a devotion. Let's break the stigma around therapy, confront the curses of poor diet and unmanaged stress, and remind the world that our bodies are temples, not tombs. Healing is not just spiritual, it is communal. And where the community is well, the kingdom is strong. That was pillar number 3. We are halfway through. The fourth pillar is family and community stability. Got to give you some scripture. Psalm 137:1 says, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Family is God's first institution. Before there was a temple, before there was a tabernacle, before there was even government, there was family. And the enemy knows it. That's why he attacks the family first. Because if he can fracture the family, he can fracture the future. That's why Fatherlessness has become an epidemic in our communities. That's why marriages are under siege, being torn apart, not only by infidelity, but by stress, financial strain, and unhealed trauma. That's why our youth are killing each other in the streets, because the family, God's first government, has collapsed. And while the enemy is attacking the home, too often we are distracted. I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it. We're distracted in the house of God. Hmm. We pour millions. Oh, I want you to just add it up. We pour millions into pulpits while our families starve for attention, starve emotionally. We build bigger sanctuaries, but ignore broken households. We invest in stages, but overlook sons and daughters who are quietly slipping into the streets. This is not kingdom. Kingdom does not skip the home to fund the sanctuary. I told you I was going to challenge you tonight. Kingdom strengthens the home so that the sanctuary has something real to celebrate. If the tithe doesn't stabilize families, if the offering does not restore households, if we are feeding systems, then we are feeding systems but starving our seed. And hear me tonight, a fractured family creates fractured communities. A fractured community creates fractured cities. A fractured city creates fractured nations. And the enemy doesn't need to destroy us in war when he can destroy us at the dinner table by tearing families apart. But tonight, I want to declare this pillar will be rebuilt. Oh, I've been in prayer about this thing for a moment now. Fathers will return. Mothers will be strengthened. Children will be restored. Marriages will be mended. And communities will once again be safe havens, not war zones. We need a fatherhood mentoring. Men who will stand in the gap and show our sons what manhood looks like when it's rooted in responsibility, honor, and integrity. Fathers who will teach not just how to make a child, but how to raise one. We need parenting classes that equip mothers and fathers to lead their households with wisdom instead of weariness, with strategy instead of survival, because raising children is not guesswork, it's stewardship. We need marriage ministries that don't just hand out advice after divorce papers are signed. But that intervene before homes collapse. Ministries that don't just host banquets for married couples once a year, but that walk with them through the storm so that they come out stronger. We need rites of passage for our sons and daughters, holy markers where we affirm their identity, celebrate their growth, and give them the tools to step into adulthood with dignity. Our children should not learn manhood and womanhood from the streets, the music industry, or social media. They got to learn it from us. We need support for foster parents and those who adopt so that every child knows the covering of love and stability. No child should feel discarded, invisible, or unwanted. The kingdom must be a place where orphans find mothers and fathers. Because here's the truth: strong families create strong communities. Strong communities create strong cities. Strong cities create strong nations, and strong nations change the world. If we want revival, hear me and hear me clear tonight, we must restore the family. If we want transformation, we must stabilize the home because the family is the seed. And when the seed is healthy, the harvest is inevitable. Here's the call to action: parents, mentors, elders, community builders. This is your call to action. Your voice is needed. Your wisdom is needed. Your presence is needed. We cannot outsource the raising of our children to broken systems. We cannot leave the shaping of families to the streets, to media, or to the courts. The kingdom must step in where society has failed. This is where I want you to partner with me. Reach out. apostolicworldempowerment.org. Contact me. I'll respond to every email I get. Partner with me to launch fatherhood mentoring programs, parenting support circles, and marriage ministries that rescue homes before they collapse. Let's establish rites of passage for our sons and daughters so that they know who they are before the world tries to tell them who they're not. Let's create neighborhood family initiatives where no child feels abandoned and no elder feels forgotten. Can't forget our elders. It's time to restore the roots. Because if the roots are healthy, the branches will flourish. And when the branches flourish, fruit will feed the next generation. This is not just about saving families. This is about securing futures, building communities, and raising nations. We're almost done. Pillar number 5, and that is a cultural and civic empowerment. Jeremiah 29:7 says, "Seek the peace of the city, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace." But here's the reality: our culture has been mined, commodified, and sold back to us at a profit while we remain poor. Mm. I want you to think about that for a minute. We write the music, but we don't own the masters. Mm. We invent the fashion. Yeah, I'm not in just in a regular t-shirt tonight, but we don't own the factories. We create the slang, the art, the style, but somebody else trademarked it, sells it, and get rich while we clap from the sidelines. We shape the culture, but we rarely control it. We set the trends, but we rarely sign the checks, much less deposit the checks. We bring the creativity, but we rarely hold the copyrights. And every time we give away ownership, we give away power. And civically, we've been tricked into thinking our only responsibility is to show up every 4 years and vote. Meanwhile, school boards are deciding what our children learn. City councils are deciding where money flows. Zoning boards are deciding what gets built in our neighborhoods, and we are absent. We march in the streets, but we don't sit in the seats of legislation. We chant for justice, but we don't draft policies. We complain about leaders, but we don't train our children to lead. No, 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 no. We train them to be basketball players, and we've got them on social media shaking. You know, family, this has got to change. We must reclaim our narrative through media, through art, through books, through platforms that belong to us. We must invest in our storytellers, protect our intellectual property. We must rise in civic spaces, on school boards, city councils, neighborhood committees, not just as voters, but as voices of authority. Because if we don't govern culture, the culture will govern us. And if we don't shape policy, policy will shape us. And if we don't reclaim the narrative, we will always be written as characters in somebody else's story instead of authors of our own. Here's your call to action to every artist, every storyteller, organizer, activist, and civic leader. I need you to hear me tonight. This is not just this is not just about your talent. This is your mantle. This is your assignment. Your voice carries weight. Your creativity shapes atmospheres. Your leadership sets direction, and your absence leaves a void the enemy is eager to fill. I need you to connect with me. I'm going to give you the address one more time, apostolicworldempowerment.org, so that we together can build storytelling projects that preserve our history, cultural festivals that celebrate our dignity, and voter education drives that awaken our communities to their power. Let's raise up a civic training hubs where our young people learn how to govern, not just protest. Let's build media platforms that tell our story instead of letting others profit from it. We are not just consumers of culture, we are the creators. We are not just participants in democracy, we are shapers of policy. And it's time to reclaim our narrative, to reclaim our dignity, and to reclaim our power. Family, your art is not just entertainment, it's weaponry. When leadership is not just service, it is strategy. Your story is not just personal. My brother, my sister, it's prophetic. You've got to step into position. The city is waiting, the nation is waiting, heaven is waiting. I've got one more pillar, and then we're going to be done tonight. The sixth and the last pillar is safety and infrastructure. Isaiah 58:12 says, "You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach." But I want you to look around. Our neighborhoods are not foundations. In most cases, they are fractures. Streets are broken, parks are abandoned, housing is decayed, opportunities are starved out like weeds choked in the garden. And here's the contradiction: we shout in sanctuaries with padded pews and high definition screens while our children walk past boarded windows and crumbling sidewalks just to get where they've got to go. We dress the altar in excellence while the block is dressed in just chaos. How can we cry, "Kingdom come," but not invest in the very streets that our children have to use as access points to get to school? How can we declare revival inside while refusing to rebuild outside? Safety is not just about locking doors, it's about creating spaces where life can flourish. Infrastructure is not just buildings, it is dignity made visible. When the walls are strong, the people feel secure. When the streets are safe, the children can dream. When the parks are clean, the elders can rest. We must reclaim our land. Stop selling, hear me, stop selling our inheritance for pennies on the dollar. Stop letting outside investors buy what we should own. The land belongs to us if we have the courage to claim it. We've got to rebuild our housing, not just for profit, but for the people. So families can live with stability and dignity. We must create safe parks where children can play without fear of stray bullets. We've got to organize community led security that protests without oppressing, that depends or defends without destroying. And we must raise up developers, builders, and visionaries from among us who rebuild what's been torn down. Because if we don't build it, somebody else will, and they will own what we should have possessed. Family, I need you to hear me tonight. The kingdom mandate is not only to pray, the kingdom mandate is to pave. It's apostolic. not only to sing, but we got to secure, not only to worship, but we got work to do. And we are repairers of the breach, the scripture says. And until our neighborhoods reflect that truth, we cannot be satisfied. Here's the call to action: contractors, developers, organizers, architects, visionaries, and every person who simply wants to see their block safe. This is your call. The kingdom needs your hands, your skills, your blueprints, and your heart for the community. We cannot keep outsourcing the safety of our streets to systems that don't love us. We cannot keep waiting for outside investors to rebuild where they've never lived in. The mantle of rebuilding belongs to us. I'm going to give it to you one more time. Apostolicworldempowerment.org, the contact page. I need you to connect with me so we can begin to strategize neighborhood cleanups, affordable housing. Initiatives, youth safe parks, and infrastructure renewal. Let's take back the boarded up homes, the abandoned lots, and the cracked sidewalks and turn them into testimonies of restoration. You are the ones Isaiah saw when he spoke of the repairers of the breach. You are the restorers of the path to dwell in. The walls of our community will rise again, not through politicians, but through the hands of builders anointed by God. This is not just construction, this is kingdom rebuilding. This is not just development, this is destiny development. The streets are waiting, the land is waiting. Heaven again is waiting for us to step into our assignment. I'm done. I'm going to close with this apostolic challenge, if you will. I want to make this clear. And I told you at the beginning, if you are just joining us and you have not watched all the way from the beginning, go back to the beginning and make sure you get all six of the pillars. If your church is not engaged in community development, if it is not feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, housing the homeless, educating the children, or strengthening the family, then you must redirect your tithe. Take a breath. I know that's uncomfortable. I know that's going to rattle some pulpits, but truth must be told because the tithe was never meant to die within four walls. It was never meant to fund egos, anniversaries, or entertainment. The tithe was meant to build storehouses, places of provision, places of safety, places where widows could eat and orphans be cared for, families could be sustained, and the poor could find help. What have we done? What have we done? We've sown millions into lights, stages, sound systems, anniversaries, and titles. While children are still failing in schools, our families are still breaking under pressure, our elders are still choosing between medicine and meals, and our communities are still bleeding. Where are the schools that are funded by time? Where are the clinics? Where are the credit unions? Where are the houses for single mothers, single parents? Where are the job training centers? Where are the counseling clinics? If we cannot point to them, then what are we really building? And I tell you this is true. If we keep sowing into systems, oh, I feel the presence of God. We keep sowing into systems with no return. You are not practicing faith. You are practicing idolatry. You are not giving to God. You are giving to cycles that entertain you on Sunday, but abandon you on Monday. It's time to stop pouring into what entertains but doesn't empower. Stop applauding what shouts but doesn't build. Stop financing what glitters. but doesn't grow. Start sowing into storehouses that build legacy. Sow where your children will eat and not be starved. Sow where your families will live and not be displaced. Sow where your grandchildren will thrive instead of just trying to survive. Because real faith is not measured by how loud you give, it is measured by how long your seed lives. Real faith doesn't just sow for blessing, it sows to build. And legacy is proof that you sowed in the right place. Here's my closing call to action. I'm going to let you go. You may not be able to do all 6 pillars. Again, if you're just coming in, I need you to go back to them and watch it from the beginning once we go off. You can start with 1. Teach a child, mentor a father, grow a garden, start a business, register a voter, clean a street. Every action builds the kingdom. Every brick adds to the wall, and every sacrifice shifts the future. Do not despise small beginnings, because one seed in the right soil can feed generations. Do not wait for permission. You already have God's mandate. Do not say, I don't have enough. What you have is more than enough when heaven breathes on it. We are Apostolic World Empowerment. We are not a crowd. We are a movement. We are not waiting on Pharaoh to feed us. We are building a promised land right here and right now. And I prophesy this to you tonight. We will see the glory of God return to our communities. We will see our children reading with confidence. We will see our families restored with honor. We will see businesses thriving with integrity. We will see clinics, schools, and credit unions arising where there once were liquor stores and abandoned lots. We will see safety return to our streets and dignity restored to our people. This is our charge. This is our mantle. This is our moment. And I declare with faith, with boldness, and with heaven backing me, we will not fail. For the Lord Himself will prosper the work of our hands. The Spirit of the Lord will breathe on what we build. The generations not yet born will rise up and call us blessed, because we did not wait. We did not fold. We did not faint. And we did not fail. This is our charge tonight. Again, if you fall within any of those 6 pillars, go to Apostolic World Empowerment, go to the Connect page and contact me. I'll respond to every email as time permits this week. Again, there will be no word on Wednesday. I've given you enough tonight to chew on for the rest of the week. We'll post as I'm at the conference as the Lord gives, and we'll take pictures and all that kind of stuff. But chew on this for the remainder of this week, and then I'll see you again real soon. I love you. We will not fail. Good night.